It is April 30th, 2020. Welcome to Strengthen Your Supply Chain, the webinar series. This will be the first of many in the series. Today's webinar is entitled From the Web to the Warehouse, and I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. My name is John Sweden, the sales representative at Achieve It Solutions. I also want to make notice for everyone to save your questions until the end, and you can place your messages or questions in the message board. All right, so in today's agenda, we'll be covering the end-to-end transactional flow from the web to the warehouse, utilizing FocusPoint eCommerce and Resolv WMS within SAP Business One. We'll also see how SAP Business One is utilized as a common database platform for both e-commerce and warehouse management. So during these unpredictable times, many businesses are being put to the test and exposed to weaknesses within their business. Some of these weaknesses may include a weak or non-existent integrated e-commerce system, manual warehousing processes, and the need to improve logistics, just to name a few. While businesses seem to slow down and employees are working from home, distribution leaders can create and pursue and effectively create a recovery plan. And now this is an opportunity for distributors to modernize and incorporate technology that supports and strengthens their core values. Now today this is a joint event by Achieve It Solutions and Focus Impressions. And today we'll be covering the combined end-to-end solution and solve all of these weaknesses. And we can also see how having SAP Business One as a centralized platform for your B2B and B2C e-commerce, ERP accounting, and WMS, and how it can drastically improve and strengthen your supply chain. Like I stated before, this is a joint event hosted by Achieve It Solutions and Focus Impressions, whom both have embedded solutions developed specifically for SAP Business One. Achieve It Solutions was founded in 1989, and they are dedicated to providing innovative solutions and related services to supply chains industries. They are also the publisher of Resolv Desktop Mobility, which is a suite of advanced supply chain logistics, warehouse management, and distribution applications. And this is exclusively embedded within SAP Business One. Speaking on Achieve It Solutions today will be Daryl Goodman, the Resolv Innovative and Business Development Director. Much like Achieve It Solutions, Impressions is dedicated to SAP Business One community. Instead, they provide an innovative e-commerce and marketing solutions. They are the publishers of FocusPoint, which is the B2B and B2C e-commerce and marketing solution, which they will cover in more depth in the next slide. Both these companies are certified solutions for SAP Business One version for SAP HANA, as well as SQL. And today, speaking on behalf of Focus Impressions, is Craig Stockmell, founder and CEO of Focus Impressions, and Charles Robinson, Vice President of Application Development and Infrastructure. As I stated before, Resolv Mobility is the product of Achieve It Solutions, and it is developed exclusively for SAP Business One. Resolv Mobility consists of 15 modules, and we broke them down into 4 categories. On the distribution side, we have aggregate pricing, equipment rental, and inventory planning. And on the warehouse management side, this is where we created our advanced allocations, quality control, and WMS modules. And then we also have our logistic categories that include 3PL integration, container management, freight management, and vehicle routing. And again, Daryl Goodman will show you an in-depth look at Resolv Mobility today. Friends at Focus created their product, FocusPoint, with a similar approach of making it developed exclusively for SAP Business One. Their vision was to have a platform for B2B and B2C e-commerce and marketing, and to have multi-channel capabilities and make sure that it is expandable, scalable, and fully integrated. FocusPoint is the industry's deepest integration with SAP Business One and is ready to run from day one with 0 development time and no hidden costs. Today, Charles Robinson will go into more depth on FocusPoint, and he will give a demonstration of the platform in just a bit. I just want to reiterate that both companies use the B1 first approach, which is to always utilize and extend existing SAP Business One databases, business logistics, and features when there's a need to create new functionality They'll utilize the SAP development methodology and technologies. But first, we'll take a look at this quick visual, the layout of strengthening your supply chain. So with SAP Business One being the centralized platform, it creates a harmonized database of interconnecting FocusPoint and Resolv mobility seamlessly. You can see from the start of FocusPoint eCommerce that B2B and B2C sales transactions are created. Sales orders are created utilizing SAP Business One as the centralized platform again. The pick list is generated, and then from there it can be sent to Resolv. Resolv WMS processes the pick list, and then from there the pick ticket is then created, and the warehouse can pick, pack, and ship utilizing Resolv. And then it can be shipped out with the freight management module, which includes many of the LTL integrations such as FedEx, UPS, USPS, and a dozen more. With a combination of created solutions, your supply chain will work quickly and efficiently. Now, before I hand it off, I'd like to add for everyone to save your questions until the end. I'm going to hand it off to Greg Stockmull.
I think you have me. Thank you so much, John. This is Craig Stockmull from Focused Impressions. Just give a quick overview. John really reviewed most of our purpose of being in the marketplace, dedicated exclusively to SAP Business One. It's just a large global customer base, and we felt building a platform to service exclusively SAP Business One customers globally with a very deep integration with SAP tools would provide a low-cost solution for e-commerce for both B2B and B2C. And Charles, who I'm going to turn it over to, is going to go through the platform, which obviously is going to be focused on how deep the integration is, which allows you to configure our platform quickly to your business and have getting IT resources involved as your platform and your business evolves. So I'm going to turn it over to Charles, who's our Vice President of Application Development, and he's going to review our platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Everybody can hopefully hear me okay. We're going to be covering quite a bit of functionality. The questions are going to be answered at the end, but it would be good to fill up the chat window with your questions while you're thinking of them as I go through this functionality. So what you have up on your screen is one of our default templates. And we have around 35 of these templates. These templates are designed to give the customer a starting point and possibly even the end point in terms of their e-commerce launch. We put a lot of different effort, a lot of hard work into making sure these templates are optimized for all real estates. In fact, our templates are designed for a mobile-first experience. So the very first design implementations that we do are all done on an iPhone, tablets, those kind of things, and then finally the desktop. Our resolutions work from the smallest real estate all the way up to 4K screens, and all our content will expand and the menus will automatically adjust for that. FocusPoint is both a B2C and B2B portal. What you're looking at right now from Achieve It, this is their demo portal. This is optimized right now for a B2C experience. So first and foremost, any good B2C wants to be able to get the customer to the product in the least amount of clicks. So search becomes extremely important. Someone arrives on your B2C site, they are expecting to type in a search query and find the product that is most relevant. This includes things like misspelled words, close matches, all those type of things, and rank by relevancy. We find that if someone does not get to the product they're looking for within 20 seconds or so, the bounce rates can increase. So we spend a tremendous amount of effort just on the on-site search. Also off-site search, or in terms of SEO, we also have an engine that runs. If you think of an ERP, oftentimes the data that you're putting in SAP B1, for example, is very strict. For example, you put the name, the SKU, but the type of words that you're putting in your ERP system are not the same words that you'd want to have someone on Google say type in and find. For example, if you're doing a dryer, for example, you just put dryer and the SKU. You don't put characteristics about the dryer that somebody might be looking for on a search engine. So our engine basically behind the scenes will insert certain words so that if you have a large catalog starting out and it's going to take several months for your marketing people to catch up on the SEO, it'll automatically do that. So you could say things like buy washers online. The term buy and online are not in there. We're inserting those words automatically. So it gives you a nice shortcut for organic traffic. All the content that you see on these sites are all driven by security. So if you have different VIP groups, if you have groups that are segmented based on buying habits, the banners, all the visuals, effectively all the content can be filtered just on that. So for example, if you had a B2C site and you had some folks that were heavy into appliances based on their buying history, but not so much cameras, then you could actually just, with a simple checkbox, push more appliances towards their experience and not even show this basically in this default carousel. Right? So we have a lot of ways to upsell, cross-sell, and enhance that experience. And that's one of the unique characteristics about FocusPoint. Once you have your e-commerce engine, of course, that's exposing all the data in your ERP, the idea here is to maximize the sales, and that is one of the tools that you can do. We have a lot of different ways to promote different products. So products that are on sale, all the price lists, for example, are set in SAP. The item master source of truth is SAP. So when products are put on sale or you add special pricing in your item master, when those come through into FocusPoint, they can be highlighted. Ribbons can be applied saying on sale, and they can be automatically added to the homepage. This allows you to effectively have a self-managed portal. Right? So everything can be time-stamped. So if you have your Black Friday sales, your March Madness, you can prep those prices and those promotions in advance in SAP. They will automatically be ready and loaded on FocusPoint automatically. And as soon as the time stamp rolls over, the whole look and feel can automatically change. Different promotions and graphics, YouTube, all these kind of things are basically drag and drop to get on here. News and blogs, these are great ways to increase your organic experience. So for example, I'm just going to click on one of these products here and have a look at what an actual product can look like in here. There is a heavy weight that is given on the actual product itself. It's always a minimum of 33% of the real estate to really highlight the product that they're buying, along with different views of the product, reviews, and basically everything that you can find in another enterprise e-commerce software is going to be here. In fact, FocusPoint was designed where some of the best enterprise e-commerce software stop. So if you look at Shopify Plus or Magento Enterprise or any of these kind of other products, every feature they have, that's just the baseline for FocusPoint, right? Everything we have is really above and beyond what those platforms are natively giving. A few things though about this, our social media integration is very good. So you can integrate directly to say Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest. And if you have an aggregator, like a provider, those kind of things, we also integrate to those aggregators as well. Things as simple as customer reviews are very simple to kind of manage here. They're very important. Of course, if you think of a B2C experience, reviews are always read when someone's buying a new type of product. And there's a full approval chain behind these things that you can manage both positive and negative comments, because that always can happen. And you have to have a way to kind of manage that. Let's get back onto a little bit more around the whole organization of the catalog. There's lots of different menu options that are available. We have some that are click drop down like this. We have more accordion style. I'm just going to click actually into one of our categories, for example, appliances. With the goal, getting to the product in the least amount of clicks, we have various filters available. So on this example here, we have price range sliders. So I can slide this along and products will automatically change based on what I'm sliding for here. So I can see all these prices now are below $1,180, or I increase it to the max and then get the highest ones. Basically, if I'm saying max, it's all that are possible. different manufacturers, so LG and Samsung, I could filter them out, and then any subcategories and recently viewed products. Again, the goal here is that we're able to quickly go back and forth. Like for example, the breadcrumb here, I can click into this product. My breadcrumb keeps expanding. We're always trying to make sure the user never gets lost. So these kind of products don't necessarily have a lot of attributes. However, all these attributes are all controlled in SAP. So I'm just going to jump to another demo site that has a much more complex type product to show you as an example. So here we have an apparel site, and this particular garment has lots of different characteristics about it. It has color, it has size, it has fit, it has additional options. Again, all this is configured in our panel within SAP B1, and this is how it comes through on the front end. We use powerful visuals rather than, say, drop downs. We basically use image squares, things to kind of really make the experience kind of pop. The SKUs back here, that I'm just going to highlight here, these are all available in SAP. And you can see it change here as I move along. And the different options that are available. We also have a way to, during the sales order process, to add more content, more information for the sales. For example, in some cases, the user may need to have input added. So in this case, I'm just going to hit yes here. Information about my weight, my chest measurement, the inseam measurement, any logos or anything that I want to have. And what we've done here, because of the way we did this direct integration, we're supporting all user-defined fields and user-defined objects by default without any customization. So we have a simple mapping mechanism that allows us to move data to and from SAP that is all custom. So obviously we have the default fields, but we have the ability to send all custom fields as well. So I can pass along this type of information, and it's going to be part of that sales order process, and I can see it all on the actual sales order itself, all these custom fields, and it works bi-directionally, of course. In fact, we put so much work into the integration module that we have the deepest integration in the industry as well. We can effectively take a no-code, low-code approach to this, and everything that you're looking at right here, no customizations at all. This is all out of the box. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to log in as a demo user here. Just going to log in. This is an example login page. So here we can take new registrations. All the forms that you see on the site are all customizable. So if you want to ask extra questions for the registration, that's no problem to do. Log in. All right, so now I'm a logged in user. So when I click under my account, I'm going to get a section here called my account. Inside here, I can control and manage all types of information. Much of this information does and can be synced to SAP. For example, all the business partners in SAP can sync to FocusPoint, and that includes things like customer terms, bit understandings, all those type of things, mainly for the B2B side, which we're about to get into at this point. All my previous address information is also here, and my previous orders. We have full order synchronization with SAP. So if I go on and I actually place an order, and then I come back on my actual FocusPoint here, I can get all this information, including any tracking information. And I can even make these hot clickable if they're, say, from FedEx or UPS, some of the big carriers, so I can track my shipments. Everything that you're looking at, though, has a message template along with it. So what that means is anytime an action is done in the system, like a receipt generated or a shipping change or those kind of things, an email is sent to the customer. So they know every step of the way what's actually happening. And inside those emails are links to bring them back to the specific points on FocusPoint right away. So if we see that there's an order status update, they can click, they can come right here, and they can print off their order, whatever it may be, print off their receipt. Account section here again. We have different ways to do bulk ordering. So I mentioned earlier in the call that B2C and B2B are really combined into the same platform. So now I'm going to start transitioning now into that. So if I was a B2B customer, all right, I would probably be set up as a contact against one or more business partners in SAP, and I could start placing orders in bulk. So for example, a category bulk ordering. Similar to the B2C experience, the goal here is to build the order in the least amount of clicks possible, right? So in this case here, I have it set where I can get all my previous products I've ever ordered, and basically I can fill out an order sheet. So this is in the most recent of my orders. I can come in here, and this is the most basic approach we have for B2B. And all I would suggest is the approach that you take in the B2B order experience is going to be customer driven. It's going to be whatever makes sense. And we actually provide up to 5 different ways to place B2B orders. I'm going to now click over to a Resolv site. So as I do this, what I'm going to mention is this is the same FocusPoint tenant. So FocusPoint is considered to be multi-site. In other words, just with a simple subdomain change, I can have a completely different look and feel for some of my business partners or all of them if I wanted to, right? So oftentimes what we see is folks who want to do both a B2C experience and a B2B. This is basically how we do it, through a subdomain model. So in this case here, I can jump into the same menu grid that you see before here. So we were just in the category bulk ordering. I'll go into the grid bulk ordering here now and show you another experience here. So this is a way that they can use Excel-based approach to ordering. This is popular with, so they can upload right from Excel, or they can just do it right from here, for example. So if I wanted to look at an order here, I could start typing T00 and then a SKU here, add a quantity, and immediately I'm going to get my price. And if I want to have it set in the back end, I can get all the availability that I need to. So if it's out of stock, I can do back in stock subscriptions, or if we have SAP configured that can take negative quantities, it can do that as well. This is also multi-cart. This is another key function for us. So if you are a contact managing multiple business partners, you can move between your business partners and maintain carts separately so that you can work on one business partner's account, say if you're a retailer, and then if you're not done, flip to another and go back and forth. All right, that's a pretty common scenario. Coming back here now, we have all the same experiences in here, but I think we'll just keep on the Resolv site. We're just going to take, let's see, here to the main portal, show you how we get here. So underneath my account, we have the customer portal. So this is the next thing I want to review. This customer portal is a live view into SAP B1. It is not necessarily what's happening on the website. So these orders could be coming from a brick and mortar store, a point of sale somewhere. This is just the recent activity for this contact against this business partner. So as I scroll down here, we have 6 kind of main business entities that we support out of the box. So order history, invoices, deliveries, quotes, returns, and credit notes. So I can expand this down and get some information here. So I can see my head information. I have a reference number that probably tells me that this one was paid by customer terms. I can see it's in US currency. If it was, say, euro, it would be the EUR symbol. I can take a look at order lines here, so I can see when things were shipped. So I can see that the ship date here for my iPad Pro 11-inch was today, and I can see the pencil also was included in that order. We also have the ability to reorder. So the other reason I'm showing the screen when we talk about B2B ordering, oftentimes business users will use their previous orders to order new. So because I had quantity 2, for example, for the iPad Pro 11, I can reorder 2 of them immediately if I want to do that separate from the Apple Pencil, or I can reorder the entire order again. These order numbers or these document numbers are also the SAP document numbers. So if the user happens to call customer service, the number that they will give you is the number that is in SAP. So that can be helpful just to organize. Just going to back up the search date a little bit just to get a bit more data here. There we go. So this gives me at least another status here. All the columns are drag and droppable. So I can drag up my status, and it allows me to just easily filter between closed and open orders. I can reorder these as well. And if I want to add due date, I can do that. And if I want to swap out these columns to look at different information, as long as it's data that is relevant for the order history, that is no problem to do. The export to Excel function is also here. So sometimes people want to do their own just Excel style reporting, and that is also available. Invoices, very similar to the order history. So you can get, again, the most critical information. And the main thing here is that we allow you to pay on outstanding balances should one exist. So configurable in the portal, we support all types of payment gateways. So everything from Square, Authorize.net, PayPal, basically all the major payment providers are available. And you can pay on these outstanding invoices, and you can pay on multiple at the same time. So that's one of the very good features. It really helps the customer service aspect of the business as well. And it's a really strong self-serve function. And similar to the order history, again, full drag and drop. This particular demo account just has one invoice. So, but if there was multiple ones, organizing these would be very helpful. A lot of times you'll find the use case that's used here is someone in SAP creates an invoice. Automatically, they're going to get an email notification about it, and they're going to be able to come right here, and they're going to be able to pay on that invoice. So additional information about the third-party integrations, I mentioned the payment gateways. In terms of shipping, all the major shipping providers are also supported, the big ones, UPS, FedEx. But we also work with some freight line carriers and those kind of things as well. Multiple options for checkout are supported. We're going to actually do just a quick checkout here in a minute. So we can, for example, in the B2B scenarios, it's often that you need to get rate quotes. So you can check somebody out, like basically complete with their customer terms, complete the order. If they are going to pay by credit card and not by customer terms, and you run into those kind of scenarios, we can just do a pre-authorization against the amount, plus what we estimate the shipping to be. And that allows us to get the final shipping number and then do the capture after the fact. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to come back to the home page here, and I'm just going to place just a quick order just to walk you through that process. So I'm going to pick an iPad here, and I'll maybe buy 2 of them here. I'll add that to the cart, and then I'll do this SKU here, the Apple Pencil. We'll just keep it like the last one, and I'll add 3 of them here. All the data on here as well is configurable. So notice I'm showing weight. Any information, including user-defined fields, so could be attachments, specifications, compliance documents, whatever it may be, it can be supported anywhere on this panel. In fact, a little bit about the platform itself. This is built off a Microsoft .NET Core stack and leverages all mainstream technologies. So HTML5, jQuery, CSS for the tech folks. So modifying anything that you see here look and feel wise, it's all possible, and all you need is some basic HTML knowledge. That's all it actually requires. Just gonna jump now to the checkout experience here and just scroll down here and initiate the checkout. We have multiple different flavors of checkout. So I could check out with a one-page checkout, or I could use like the breadcrumb approach. So I'll just go ahead and pick my current address here, and I'll ship to the same one. I mentioned that we're integrated with a lot of different carriers. So UPS, for example, is one of them. So it's already set here to be ground $16.21. That sounds pretty good. And what I'll do here, I'll just do a purchase order and enter my PO number. Just put in something here, like this. And again, we keep in this very linear in this approach so that the user never gets lost. Review my last order here, everything about it. I can see there's no tax here. It's going to be $16 to ship. All right, I can confirm my order just like that. So what I'm going to get now is an actual email about this. I'm going to log out and I'm going to take you on a brief tour just of the back end here. So everything you've seen up to now has been FocusPoint, the front end, where the customer is experiencing the purchase processes. I'm now going to log in as an administrator and show you some of the configuration that is possible on the back end. Now that order that I just placed, that just went to SAP. This is the back end. Again, I want to reiterate that the customer and users never see these screens. So this is just the back end of FocusPoint. I want to draw your attention to the content management or the CMS engine. I've been talking a lot about message templates. So what would have been sent when here. So everything I'm showing you in this list is a notification or an action. So for example, I just placed an order as that demo user. There is a message template for order placed.customer notification. Let's take a quick peek at it. I'll open it to advanced mode. And again, this is strictly HTML, right? Our whole platform is built off this. There's nothing proprietary here. So if I know HTML, I can alter these. I can put graphics, brand them. Notice these tokens. These are just inserting the real information when this workflow is triggered. So when a order is placed, a customer notification gets triggered and it gets sent. And I have all these tokens to pick from, so I never have to go really looking at a manual to figure out what is available. And I can easily change these type of things. Notice this limit to store, achieve and resolve. I mentioned that at the earlier in this that it's two sites running the same back end. So if I wanted to make this one specific to achieve and then do a different order place notification if somebody ordered off the Resolv site, that's very easy to do. I just have to limit one to achieve, duplicate another one, limit it to Resolv, and that's it. So the way we handle multi-sites is very, very easy. In fact, that is content is driven like that. So for example, if I want to just take a look at the banners, so I have a main banner here for one site. I can come in here, I can fill out all the different effects, and I can limit it just to achieve. Fill all the pictures I might want. Widget zone, this is where it's going to be placed on the actual site. Scheduling, I talked about how every piece of content can be scheduled. If this is a Black Friday special, whatever, I could have, let's just say it's November, whatever, I could just pick from date and everything would be filtered. We even go further. We make the content that you see extremely robust. So for example, if I added a condition, I can make these banners just show to a customer that is in a role from SAP equal to, and it could be this business partner or a price list or whatever. This simple approach lets you target content like a banner and like products and everything to specific individuals, right? There's no coding necessary. These are just drop downs, and that's how easy it is to target content. Okay, and a little bit more about some of the configuration here around the content management here. I'm just going to jump into the topics section. So inside here, this is where you would place all types of content that's not found in the item master. So for example, if I wanted to modify the contact us page, like what I'm saying in the contact us page, it's just as simple as popping in here and just typing what you want, copy and paste from other programs like Word, for example, or if you do a nice design in an Adobe product, you can paste right here. This whole thing is full HTML5 compliant. In our templates that we start with, though, we have all these pre-populated because we're assuming that when we deploy this, that there's no IT staff, right? So we don't have to do any customizations, and we are also making the assumption that, you know, there's going to be want a nice soft landing here that they can really just focus on their item master, prepping their catalog, and those kind of things. Just as an example, if I created a topic page like contact, I can decide if I want to include it in the top menu, just by a checkbox. If I want to include it in the footer, just simple checkboxes. And the whole system is driven by customer roles, which is a synonym for access control list. These are created in SAP. So I could say, look, this contact us is specifically just for vendors, or specifically for this business partner C002. And I can have as many of these as I need. I can make these messages all custom, right? So every content can be segmented on a customer role. 2 people logged in at the same time will see the most relevant information for them. We also have advanced functions like our eForms capability. So eForms are an important aspect of making intelligent decisions to get someone to a product or collect additional information about a product. The easiest way for me to demonstrate this is just through an example. We have an insurance customer here, for example. I'm just going to hit a customize button. The look and feel is not as important as the function here inside this question list. So in this case here, there's additional information I need to collect before I can let them buy a product. Full eForms with dependency management, workflow. I'm just going to fill this out just so you can get the flavor for this here. These can be attached to any product. So what is the region here? So for example, if I select California, I know before I let them complete this product, and this is a printable product, by the way, that I have to enter a California license number, or if I say the Midwest, I don't. FocusPoint has incredible power in the marketing side, right? So years of marketing capability have been pumped in and developed into this product. So what I'm doing right here would be the start of a potential campaign where I want to do web to print and have this distributed, right, through say a mass email or even possibly even physical. Co-brand, these kind of things, I'll just say no. Just continue on here. See, upload a file here. Get a file, downloads. So this is like a policy file. What would be inside here is a list. So if you have a Salesforce integration, you have a constant contact integration, a MailChimp integration, a Sendinblue integration, all those are supported, right? This is just all about getting a contact list. The one I just did just for this demo purposes was just an Excel file. But if you had any kind of major CRM, those lists can be pulled from there for the marketing aspects. And then I can go ahead and I can begin my proof designs here. So the customized product is a major aspect of FocusPoint, right? So we have the standard, the dishwasher, the flowers, then we get into the apparel with complex, it's got this fit, this style, this size, this color, and then we can even go into here. Now notice here, the test 555 1 2 3 4 might be a bit small. Let me zoom in on this. This took the information that I typed in the decision tree or the eForm and automatically placed it in here. The key here is anything that we do type in here as well is also going to be submitted to SAP during the sales order process, including any high-res PDFs. So for example, this would generate a high-resolution PDF. I can make edits, of course. This is I can just jump in here and make any text changes I want to have the same kind of full WYSIWYG capability in here. This is also routed through approval workflows. So not just we had customer terms and credit limits, but I could also route even content through an approval chain, right? So I could fill this, if I'm happy with this, it merged the first name. I could send this proof out and that would go right into the default workflow. The order would be placed, it would go into SAP. Everything that was typed in the eForm, every edits that were made also go right in with that sales order. And if I wanted to actually track, for example, the status from the customer side, I have a scheduler basically that allows me to do that. So any campaign, this could be a full-blown campaign, for example. I can see where it is in any approval workflow, when it was initiated, what the status is if it's out for proof, or once it has been approved, been distributed. This is when things like MailChimp become very powerful. Like once you have your high resolution message that you're gonna do, then you can track bounce rates, read receipts, all that kind of stuff, and see it right back here in FocusPoint. In terms of analytics, the final thing I want to quickly cover here, we support all the major analytics that you'd expect. I talked about SEO at the start, so I mentioned Google specifically. The Google Analytics and AdWords are fully supported, but we also support large data sets. So if you have Hadoop implementations or Power BI, you can use those right out of the box with our professional package. I'll just jump into Power BI here. So with an Office 365 subscription, FocusPoint is going to send the data, or we have an OData endpoint that you can use. Now, the interesting thing here is you can have one or many SAP databases that feed into FocusPoint. Just as a quick demonstration of that, if I go under stores, for example, here are the two stores we've been looking at. They exist together, Achieve It and Resolv. They're both here. So FocusPoint is sitting on top of both stores' data, right? The B2C model and the B2B. So when I'm looking at my Power BI, I'm looking at the aggregation of both stores. And then I can start, as this evolves, I can start asking my data some questions. What happens if I put something at 50%? What happens this? What happens that? That's the real power of BI. And that's the real power of our platform, is once you get the e-commerce, what we're doing after that for the content specific upsells, we're looking at order behavior, order history, making the right recommendations, and looping into analytics and even the Internet of Things to use endpoint devices and all that kind of stuff. This is really where the investments in the FocusPoint are really going to pay off. I think that's the end of what I wanted to cover. Off to Daryl.
Charlie, thank you so much for the presentation so far. Again, I wanted to kind of just maybe take us back a little bit. We were able to see e-commerce site, how you were able to work with all of the SAP Business One, data, and that data we were able to place an order, and then that order, was brought right into SAP Business One. Again, no outside system or anything else like that. And as was mentioned, same is true for the Resolv suite. And in this particular case, we're now logged in here in Resolv mobile interface, which is the WMS and other types of interface. So as you can see here, this right now I'm on a computer, so I have it full screen. This whole piece works on something called responsive design. So in the same way here, you'll be able to run this on many different types of devices. So if you're running it on a computer, which I'll demo for the rest of the presentation, it could be full screen. But a lot of the times you'll have your people that are not in front of their computer or not logged into SAP Business One all day, and they might be working on different devices based off of their purpose. So a warehouse manager might want to be able to work with this on a tablet, and so they could get a screen that looks something like this, giving them different tiles based on the size of their tablet. And then again, you're going to have the people who are performing the warehouse operations, and often they'll be working on a screen something along the size of this, which will again give them the ability to scroll through or be able to see different tiles given the size of the devices. So this would be for a ruggedized scanner. And in that, you also have the ability to come in and work with user preferences and settings. So for instance, if I was always working on a scanner type device, I could have my preferences set to be compact mode to be able to make it so that in addition to the dynamic resizing, it will quit that. But at its core, one of the things we wanted to do, just like search was emphasized, for the e-commerce site, we wanted to make sure that we also provide similar kind of features for the people who are working on the mobile environment. So in here, for example, let's say the warehouse manager asks me whether or not the order for the New York State Department of Ed is shipped yet. I can come in here and just search for part of it, so you can see New York State. In this case, it will say that since there wasn't an exact match, it's offering me two different customers that I might be able to look from. So in this case, I'm going to go in and go into the record for my customer. This here allows me to be able to come in, see information about the customer. I can look at their different sales orders and see the history of the sales orders. So if we take a look at the order that was just entered on the FocusPoint here, you can see it was entered today, the customer reference number, and I'm able to see the content immediately for the order that was ordered, so we can see this product. Now, the quick search also allows us to be able to search for anything. So this could scan a barcode, this could be a product description. So for example, if I come in here and do pencil, you can see I can find all of my different Apple pencils. And if I click into the Apple pencil, I'm now going to get different detail from the search. So because we've searched on an item, you can see here it's now showing me information about what bins in the warehouse the product is stored in, the number of units that exist within each bin location. I have the ability to look at information across all warehouses. Right now I'm set to log in just to warehouse 1, but I would have the ability to come in and take a look at different warehouses. Similarly, from the details screen, I can see the different units of measure that the product comes in. And I can work in any of the units of measure that are set up in the Item Master's unit of measure group, as well as being able to use different barcodes. So when we get to the Item Master, we'll be able to see the different barcodes that are available, and that all becomes available. So as I scan, I can scan the different product. Of course, you can come in and see the same pictures that we saw on the e-commerce platform. This is also coming directly from the Item Master to be able to see that description. Warehouse quantity just gives me bulk information, so you can see I'm able to look across my different warehouses, as well as any attachments that might have specifications. So beyond that, you also are going to get the ability to come in and look at all the different documents that it's located in. So here again, we can look at the different sales orders. And if I look at my sales order, so here we'll look at sales order 1474, you can see again the different products that are on it. So we have the ability to look and gain access to all of the information without having to go out of our mobile environment. So you can give people the ability to work in place and answer questions. Again, if it's a warehouse manager asking about a particular customer, or a salesperson wants to follow up on something, or you're looking for a product and wanting to be able to identify where in the warehouse it is, or anything else along those lines. Outside of the search, you'll see here we have different tiles that are based on the role that the person's performing. I'm logged in with almost all of the roles right now, so as a result, you can see here that I have all the different tiles, and we're going to focus primarily on the picking process today. We're going to do picking and packing, but since it is a full WMS, you do have the ability to do receiving. Within each of the different tiles, you'll sometimes be able to get different subtiles. So here you can see I can receive by a purchase order. I always get a counter that tells me how many records I have. So I know there's 85 purchase orders that are outstanding to be counted right now. John introduced that we have part of the logistics, the ability to do importing via containers. So if you do importing via containers, you'll also be able to scan and receive by those containers in your warehouse management system. So those two modules work together, making it so that you do not need to separate your purchase orders back into separate documents to be able to receive. You can do it naturally based off of how the actual products are received. Additionally, throughout the system, you'll see we have the ability to work on it based off of a scanner. So each of these are working on the scanner. We also have the ability to do touch receipt. So if you would prefer to work with a large touchscreen monitor or a tablet, instead of working with the lasers that you would traditionally see on a scanner, you can do that where you'll get picture-based scanning, allowing people to kind of check out almost like or receive product in and out, almost like you would with a point of sale. Again, you'll have integrations with other modules such as EDI for being able to receive against an advanced ship notice that you might have received. I'm not going to drill into each of these, but again, in the inventory menu, you'll be able to do transfers throughout the warehouse to be able to move material between the bins, between warehouses, production, allowing you to be able to scan the receipt of items off of your production system, as well as being able to return components and do disassemblies. Full support for the RMA aspect, and that RMA aspect is both customer-based, so I'm receiving product back in that I've shipped out to customers, as well as being able to scan and control out of returns to vendors. So if I have returned something to a vendor, we'll be able to do so. Within the license plate, a license plate is a tool that allows you to group one or more products together in a way that you can scan them and move them and ship them and receive them using that single identifier. And that identifier can identify both the items, the quantities, the bin locations, the batch or serial numbers. All of that information can be maintained in your license plates. So you can receive license plates in from EDI in advance and process them, or we can build license plates on the fly, transfer them, break them, move them, whatever we want to be able to do. Within counting, you have the ability to do your full physical inventory, as well as being able to do bin counts and cycle counts that will go back into SAP Business One for your review, or can be posted directly from here to be able to make immediate changes. And then of course we have the ability to come in and do analytics as well. So in the analytics, I can look at things like the warehouse planning calendar, which uses all of the data that we have SAP Business One to present an overview of what we need to do. So as the orders are coming in from e-commerce system, you'll be able to come in and see I have sales orders that are due. So here are the pick lists that were created for the orders that need to be shipped today. So I can drill in at any point and be able to see the detail of all the orders that need to be shipped. So you can see I have several different pick lists that are outstanding here. So this calendar, of course, works with the orders that come in e-commerce system, so we can keep track of that, as well as being able to look at anything that's overdue for back orders, production, everything throughout your warehouse you're going to be able to get visualizations for. And then there are some additional reports and statuses, so I can see what people are doing in the warehouse, what their performance has been over time, and the like. But with that, let's go ahead and just move into the picking menu here. So in the picking menu here, you can see again, I'm presented with a couple of different ways to be able to do picking and packing. So we're going to start by doing the sales order pick lists, and we're also going to talk about a wave pick and doing packing on the scanner. So again, we'll come in here and take a look at our sales order. In here, you can see I'm able to use this where I could simply scan a pick list number. So if you are printing your pick lists, you'll be able to scan that pick list, or I can use a paperless model where I do a lookup and I'm able to see all of the different pick lists that are outstanding. So here again, we can see the different pick lists that have been created. I could filter just on my pick lists. So if I want to look at just the pick lists that have been assigned to me, you'll be able to come in here and do that as well. And that also aids in a paperless based processing flow. When I do drill into the pick list here, you'll see it will show me the different products that I need to pick and where to pick it from. So it's guiding me through the bin and the different products and the quantity that I need. I can get a full description. If there were any comments or remarks came in, you'd be able to get that kind of pop up in here as well. Also, when we do any of the lookups, whether it's doing a lookup to select the pick list or I'm searching within this, just like you would inside of SAP Business One, you'll have access to form settings. So I could come in here and move the description up. So if I want to see the description, right next to the item code, I have the ability to move that along, and if I don't care about the line number, I can kind of uncheck that. So each person can personalize their view of which columns they want to see and the order that they want to see it in. So we're going to take a look at that. Now, in this particular case, we're also going to be able to do both a pick and a pack at the same time. So you can see here in this order, I have the two products. This is the entire order. So rather than having to do two steps, I can save time and make it more efficient by packing directly to the box. So I'm going to come in here and create a new package number. It's asking me if I want to print the label for the package, which I can say yes or no to. Since we're doing this in a webinar, I'm going to say no to that. And now you can see that it's created a package number for us to be able to process. At this point, I can come in and then scan the bin and or the item, and it will take me in. Or if I'm using a touchscreen, I have the ability just to come in here and click on the product. You'll see here, it defaulted with the quantity. I'm going to come in and say that I want to add that to my pick, and you can see it updates the quantity where I need to, and I've picked one. At this point, I can go ahead and create a new package. So if I want to create a second box for the same order, I can do that here. And I'm not going to print another package label, so I'll just cancel out of that. Now I can come back in and it will show me that I only need one remaining. So I'll go ahead and add that to the pick. And then because I've picked both quantity, both units, that line disappeared based on using the hide finished functionality. So the purpose of the hide finished functionality is to allow the user to be able to see where they need to go to next. It will automatically suppress the rows that we've already completed. And that's going to give me ease of being able to go, okay, I now need to go to this product, this bin, and then get this product. Again, we're going to pick this product into that same box. And once all of the lines are complete and there's no data, I know that I've fully both picked and packed this particular order. At this point in time, when I finish this, it will communicate with SAP Business One using the service layer. So this is actually in real time. The customer service people could be able to see that this pick is in process. They'll be able to see what's been picked. You'll be able to see here, I got an error with the packing. That's okay, we'll come back to that. The pick and updating the pick list and all of that kind of status is going to be processed in real time. Now, in addition to just doing a pick by order, you do also have the ability to come in and do a wave pick. Now, a wave pick can be defined in many different ways, but one good way to be able to do it is, particularly if you are working on a B2C type model. Throughout the day, you're getting tens, hundreds, or thousands of orders that are coming in. And then in B2C environments, a lot of times those products are people are just buying one unit of one product. They could be buying multiple products or multiple units, but we'll just focus on that use case for example. When that happens, it's not efficient to keep sending pickers out to go pick the same product over and over and over again. So a wave pick can go through and say, let's say every 15 minutes, we want to go through and identify multiple orders that have the same product. So if I come in here and I take a look at my pick list here, you can see I have 249 and it's repeated multiple different times because different customers have ordered the same product. So you can see the New York State Department of Ed, Fixed Accelerator, Predominantly Technology, and so on and so forth. But when I click on this, you'll see for the picker, they're only told to go get the one bin and to get 5 units of this product. Now, again, if we take a look at how the bin number looks, so again, we can use the quick search like we did before for the customer or for the description. If I scan in a document number, you can see I'm able to bring up the pick list and I can see exactly how this works. So it's one pick list that was released by the wave pick using advanced allocations, but it's going to give us the benefit of taking all of the different lines. So it was 5 different rows that were linked for the same product to 5 different orders. And it's going to allow us to send the picker out to that bin location just once and to tell them to go get the 5. So again, we're going to come in here. We're going to specify that we need to get the 5 units. And with the one scan and the finished, I've now gone ahead and actually picked all of the quantity that was required for all 5 of those different. This will also give me the ability to come in and do packing. So if I've done the first model where we did a pick and then while we were doing the pick, we packed. In this case, obviously, if I've picked 5 units, I haven't put them into the individual boxes. So you also have the ability to come in here and do a packing by the pick list or the packing slip number. So I can come in here and look up the different packing slips that were created. So in here, this is the packing slip that was created for the 2 products that we already picked. And if I take a look at packing, you can see here I have the ability to look at the packages. So this is one that we already did the picking while we were packing. I'm just going to go ahead and void out of this one. But let's take a look at what happens if I now need to go pack the 249. So you see when I come in here, it will now show me, even though we did one pick, it's breaking it down into the different customers. So I can come in here and prioritize who I want to pick for. So in this case, if I want to go ahead and pick for the Board of Education, I can say I want to pick on that customer, and it's going to filter just to the product that I need to pick. The other thing that you can do is you can add multiple pick lists together. So if I did have a single sales order that went into multiple zones or something else along those lines, you can break the picking into multiple pick lists to go faster. And at that point, be able to pick them and bring them together in the packing. So I know that I'm a few minutes over. I'm going to just take a couple of more minutes to go through this process, and then we'll go for question and answer. But let's just go ahead and pack this one in here so we can see how the packing functionality works. Again, here you can see it defaulted with a box. It shows me the product that I need to pick. So I could come in here and scan in or select the product that I need to pick, enter in my quantity. If it was serial or batch managed, it would prompt me to be able to do so. But in this case, I'm able to pack item in. I can also review the details about the package. So I can come in here and specify, the type of box it is, weighs. So I can come in here and say that it weighs, 2 pounds. I can change the box type and its dimensions, or we can do this with a scale integration, and I'll show that as well. So you always have the ability to come in here and do that. If I wanted to have a multi-box type package, I could come in here and add additional packages. That's going to build an extra box, and I'd be able to finish this. And now I can print package labels, I can print packing slips, or if I'm done, I can just go in here and save the packing, and that will go ahead and complete both the pick and the pack process. So again, there's lots of other things we can do within the mobile environment, but I wanted to kind of take it back into Business One for a few moments. As we take a look at Business One, I'll come back to this in a moment. I just want to kind of finish the rest of the process here. So we took an order on the website. It came immediately into SAP Business One and updated the customer on the website with the sales order number. It came into the warehouse management system where it generated a pick. We picked the pick and we've also packed it. And so here inside of SAP Business One, we can see the packing slip detail. So this packing slip detail here is going to give me where it's supposed to ship to, how it's supposed to ship. So again, in this case, we used UPS, but we have the ability to work with many different types of carriers. And so we have the package that we wanted to work with. And here, I'll just go back another one here so we can get a carrier. The carrier wasn't selected, but again, if we had one that's selected, you'll be able to come in here and choose. You can see the UPS ground as the carrier, and then be able to process this. So let's go ahead and take a look at the packing area of it. So in here we have again the carrier, the ship to, where it's going, and all of the package information was brought forward. So you can see here I have the different packages. Within the different packages, you can see the quantity of what was picked into the different packages. So you can see the 2 units in the second package, as well as the weight and the different package numbers. Now at this point, when you want to ship, you'll be able to ship from here. It automatically generated the tracking number and produced the carrier label, as well as being able to make the deliveries. So once that delivery was created, you have the option of creating the delivery, the invoice, or both. So in this case, we did all the way through invoicing the customer. The tracking number and packing information is going to go into the delivery. So in a delivery itself, you can see we're looking at the logistics tab. You have the tracking number. I can double click to be able to go out to the carrier and track this information the same way that the customer can within the e-commerce system. So this data is immediately going to be available in the e-commerce system as well. So as soon as it's in SAP, people will be able to see the status, the shipping, and the tracking numbers. And I can go into the packing slip to be able to see again the detail of exactly how this was packed and what the tracking numbers are, as well as being able to track a shipment, to reprint labels, to void a shipment if necessary, and to be able to see kind of all of that data. Again, that kind of gives me the ability to do the end-to-end processing flow. An order comes in for e-commerce, it's immediately seen inside of SAP Business One. Customer service can review it, it can go through your approval process, any of the things that you might be using in your Business One flow. And then it went to a pick list, was picked, was packed, was shipped with a carrier, in this case UPS, and then created both the delivery and the invoice. I wanted to kind of show a little bit of behind the scenes and talk about how this all worked. As was pointed out, both Resolv and FocusPoint, the development approach that both of our companies respectively take is Business One first, which means that we want to use as much Business One capability as possible, and that we don't want to maintain anything in the outside if we don't have to. So you saw the back end was shown a FocusPoint, but that's to be able to give statistics or to be able to review or other kinds of things. The low-code, no-code model that they were talking about gives them the ability to create a connector right here inside of Business One so that you can get your e-commerce system running without having to touch any of those kinds of functionality. So at a basic configuration here, you can see this is saying, when I first hit the website, maybe I want to have 2 different types of customers. I want to have guests, and then I want to have registered customers. A registered customer could be a regular B2B customer that has a price list. It could be somebody that's creating themselves new as a new customer. And so if they're registered, I want to associate them with a regular price list from SAP. So I can just hit my drop down here and choose from the price lists in SAP. Guests, on the other hand, are just going to get the retail pricing with the list prices. Again, the same thing with being able to map your ship tos or have other kinds of basic functionality. Now, of course, you'll also have the ability to take a look at the sales order. As mentioned, as soon as the order comes in, you'll be able to see the sales order. So if we take a look at 1474, which was one of the sales orders that was entered, you can see in here it was originally referenced by web order number 20, but as soon as it was created inside of SAP, both SAP and the e-commerce site will now refer to it using the sales order number of 1474. Additionally, you'll be able to come in here and look at a couple of different characteristics. So when we looked at the addresses that were available within the customer account and the checkout for the customer to be able to select, that's all by the ship to addresses that were maintained in here. So we can specify whether or not that ship to address is available on the web or not. We can allow them to create new web addresses. And then of course, we also have the ability with freight management to be able to do address verification. So before we ship, we can make sure that the data that they've entered is correct. As mentioned, existing customers can be published to the web, and we can come in here and identify whether or not they're on the web or not as web customers, or they can self-enroll. And that also gives them the ability to work with the different contact people. So again, you can see by email address, we know whether or not on the website or not. So we can see whether or not they've registered themselves and whether or not they've validated that email address as being valid for them. Beyond the basics of customer integration, of having your B2B customers already populated and letting them log in or registering new customers, at the item master level, again, the data that we use inside of Business One is going to be used for both warehouse management and for e-commerce without having to do a whole bunch of rework or additional support. So things like the SKU, the description, being able to use the different unit of measure groups, being able to have those different barcodes. This is all data that can be used by either system for searching purposes, for order purposes, for being able to expose that information. In addition to the information that's used on here, like the sales data, the inventory data, the properties, the remarks, which show things like the main picture that's being described, there are the ability to identify things. So if we did want to have like the multi-style products, so Resolv style, for example, you could have, maybe you're selling tablets or TVs. So in the case of a tablet, this has 64 gigs and comes in a color. We might want iPads to be a style and be able to choose between the different color combinations or the different sizes. That can all be linked to a parent that displays on the web page. So your customer just sees iPad and then they're able to choose between the different types of iPad that they want. We can make it so that products are available on the web or not. We can choose that. And FocusPoint also has added the extension right into Business One to be able to manage, so you don't have to go into the website to be able to organize how you want it to see. Now, in this case, we identified this as being part of the category for tablets, but let's say we wanted to have multiple categories for the website. You could have a scenario by which you wanted us to also show up under electronics or under Apple or something else along those lines. So all the information about the website and how you want it to be categorized can be managed directly from inside SAP Business One. Additionally, you have the ability to put in item specifications, related items, cross-sell items, attributes about the items, additional pictures and videos, even restrictions as to who's allowed to see this product. So all of those different kinds of things can be shown and managed directly from the configuration in here. Now, beyond going into the system as a sales order, the other part that we worked with was being able to take a look at the pick lists. And part of the pick list automation that we have is something called advanced allocations. So when that order came in and we wanted some of the orders to be wave picked and some of the orders to be picked by order, you can do that through the pick, pack, and production manager inside of SAP. Or with advanced allocations, we can generate pick ticket rules so that the system can automatically execute a rule based on a scheduler. So I can have a scheduler, and then I can do things like based off of a query. So in this case, I went through and identified who I wanted to have as the picker, what product I wanted it to be able to be. And in this case, I was checking to make sure that the order is open and allows partial shipments and that there was only one item on the sales order. So as soon as those things happen, then I hit preview, I'll be able to find all of the orders that meet that criteria, and the system will use this to automatically generate pick lists. When it generates the pick lists, it uses these things called pick actions, and the pick actions have the benefit of being able to answer all of the questions. So I can decide whether or not I want to allow back orders or not. I can choose where in the warehouse I want to be able to pick from, including being able to use advanced rules. So if I wanted to be able to have large orders go to certain bulk areas and smaller orders go to forward pick zones, you can do that based on unit of measure. You can do it based off of the document and several different functions in there. Within the pick list generation parameters, the wave pick, as you saw, I grouped by item, but I could have also done zone-based picking, customer-based picking, or any combination of these, including being able to organize your warehouse by secure area like cages or zones or frozen or cold or clean, any of those kind of attributes that you would want to store on your bins. And I can allocate by using either the defaults from SAP's warehouse or being able to use a custom query-based one So if I wanted to come in here and specifically say Walmart pick tickets should go to Walmart bins because maybe I have them packaged differently, I can create a query that identifies which bins I should go to. And again, that's going to be in the custom allocation rules. So you have complete control over making sure that the pick lists can be automated with complete control over the bin locations. Again, when we do get to the pickers, I can use things like the system date or the demand date, being able to use a round robin, so I can have pick lists that are assigned to me, or if I came in here and didn't specify this, I'd also be able to use round robin, so I can assign it to the user that has the least number of picks or the least number of units to pick, or I can do again by query if I have certain pickers that are eligible. I can do it by different roles as well to restrict them, also being able to include remarks. So that can really help with the sort of pick list creation. And then sort of last but not least, before I kind of turn it back over to John for any Q&A, and again, I do apologize for going long, but I did want to point out about how the integration with the carrier worked. So we looked at the UPS integration. Within the UPS integration here, you have the ability to come in and identify which carriers you want to work with. It's automatically going to be able to know who you are based on your login to UPS. So you can use your own negotiated rates or the public rates. You can have multiple account numbers if you've got different warehouses to be able to track that, as well as being able to print the labels and specify on your control numbers. The other part that was automated was the ability to create something called a shipping profile. And in the shipping profile, you'll see that you have the ability to determine who's going to be responsible for paying for freight, how the freight markup rules are going to be created. And your freight markup rules are also user defined, where you can come in here and create any kind of markup. Like in this case, we're doing 10% of the shipment value. This would typically be used for something like insurance, but you see you have the ability to base it off of things like the number of units, the number of packages for handling charges, or of course the carrier shipment cost. So there's a lot of flexibility in being able to integrate with the different carriers for parcel shipments. If you're using a full truckload or LTL, we also support the ability to come in and integrate with full truckload like Uber Freight, so you can have dynamic available capacity on demand without having to work with the different carriers. You can just have one connection to Uber, and it will identify for you the most effective and cost-effective way to be able to ship that freight. It's fantastic. We're going to be having announcements and webinars on that, as well as being able to use UPS and FedEx Freight, other carriers like XPO, and then of course being able to also on small parcels, again, very common with e-commerce, to be able to use things like the US Postal Service, which might have a cheaper, kind of freight rate. So all of that can be managed, inside of SAP Business One. One source for everyone to be able to see the status, so that the salespeople, the customer service people, the customers themselves through e-commerce and their customer portal will all be able to see and work with the same data. Turn it back over to you, John, for any Q&A.
Thanks, Daryl. Thank you, Charles, and thank you, Craig. Thank you, Charles, and thank you, Craig. We have a few questions here come in. We have a question from Tracy. She has two questions for FocusPoint eCommerce. First question is, what version of SAP Business One are supported, and what payment gateways do you support? I'll bring that over to Charles.
Sure. So SAP B1, 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, and 10.0. In terms of the payment gateways, we support all the major carriers. There's around 54 of them. So we support all the major ones in the United States and Canada, South America, several in like the UAE area, Brazil, and a lot of secure trading and stuff across Europe. So pretty much all the major ones in those parts of the world.
All right, thanks, Charles. And we have another question from Douglas. Populating a B2C interface with SAP dataset like PB and Item Master is great. Not all our data is in SAP, specifically image. Is there any scenario allowing images to be pulled out from outside SAP?
That's a very common scenario. So images are the one kind of optional item in the Item Master. If you have it, it's great, but oftentimes you can use Google Drive or external content delivery networks if that's where the images are. So that is an optional item. So that's a very common scenario to not have the images in SAP. So that's fully supported.
That question is for Daryl from Walter. How are picked items allocated in SAP to prevent another user from consuming or moving the item from the picked bin to the WMS? This can happen when an item is managed by serial numbers, for example.
Sure, it's a great question. So SAP, particularly for serialized managed items, you can set at the item level whether or not you want the item to be controlled by serial number or by bin location. But ultimately, because we're using the SAP pick list, as soon as the pick list is created, it creates an allocation against that order. As we're picking them, we won't be able to over-release to a particular bin. It's keeping track of that. And if you've selected a particular serial number or batch number, that will be controlled as well. But if you wanted to have more specific control for batch or serialized type products, we also offer order reservations where you can go ahead and use the advanced allocations to control which bin you go to for the batch or serial numbers, or for order reservations, even for non-managed products that are not batch or serialized, you can restrict and not allow the pick list to be created if inventory, let's say, is being held for a customer, so there's not sufficient order for the newer orders that came in. We can still hold back and restrict that movement so that the inventory doesn't get taken if it's been promised to somebody on a quote by a salesperson, for example, even though the order hasn't been approved yet. The order reservations will hold the inventory.
Okay, thank you, Daryl, so much. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for attending here today. I want to thank Achieva Solutions and Focus Impressions for being here today. If anyone has any extra questions or concerns, or you'd like to learn more information, please contact me, jsweden@achievits.com. We could also send out an email if you have any other questions, comments, or concerns.